Hi everyone, my name's Michelle and I'm Mama Loves You GB here on FlossTube, but also over on Instagram and Etsy as well. Welcome to the Sunday morning briefing. This is FlossTube number 95 and today is the 5th of November. Tomorrow is the 6th of November, so by the time you see this, if you watch it on the Sunday, it'll be the 6th of November. So it's fireworks today here in the UK and we went along to the local display, which was fabulous. If anybody is still in touch with Guy Fawkes, I think there's room for him to have another go. The music has stopped and we have Richie Sunak now, who is, in my opinion, a vast improvement on Liz Truss, who had all the personality of a belt sander and about the same level of maths as far as I can work out. Anyway, we don't need to be talking too much about politics. So it's been half term this week. It's been a really nice week, really busy week, but it's just been nice not to have to really be anywhere at any specific time. So we've done fireworks tonight. We did trick-or-treating in the pouring rain on on Monday, and I'm just getting this throat ready to go back to school, which is excellent. We went to the Natural History Museum in London on Tuesday, which was absolutely fabulous. I always love going to the Natural History Museum, but it was Nessa's first time going there, and Dippy is back there. So she's already seen Dippy when he was at the Hancock Museum in Newcastle. So she's already well acquainted with Dippy, but she just absolutely loved going and seeing all of the other things to see there, and there's just so much to see. It's a fabulous museum. And we had to have our photo taken with Charles Darwin, of course, the boss, the main man. So yeah, it was fabulous. But they've moved the coelacanth. The coelacanth is my favourite fish in the whole world, and they've moved it. Couldn't find it. I don't know where they put him. But never mind, I'm sure he's still there somewhere. I've had to make notes. I've got so much to talk to you about. So I've ordered some glasses as well. Hopefully that will help with the headaches. They are getting a bit less and less, which I think probably means that they're all tension in my shoulders, but I've ordered some new glasses anyway. I like ordering glasses, it was fun. So I have got some stitching to show you. My new release is ready. It will be up for sale today at some point. I have got my sampler down here. I'm tapping, and my sampler down here that I opened on Instagram to show you in a bit more detail. I've got Stitchy Kindness, I've got a few giveaways to do, freebies, all sorts of things. Before I start though, I'm going to show you this. I put this up on Instagram today, and I picked this up for £1. There's a local shop which does house clearances, and he always puts things at really cheap. And I saw it and I thought, oh, that'll make a nice little kind of Ort container. I'll just show you. And it's actually a hand painted teacup by Ainsley. I'm trying not to drop it. Now unfortunately it didn't have a saucer with it, but I will be going back just to check and see whether the saucer does appear, because this is quite an expensive little teacup apparently. But isn't it absolutely beautiful? So I'm so happy to have that in my collection, unless I find this up with a saucer for it, in which case I shall be selling it. There we go. Just put that there and hope it stays there. Right. Oh, this is going to be one of those, isn't it? Right. The first thing that I've worked on this week, I'll do my stitching first, is my Teresa Kogut mystery sampler, which is the strawberry mystery sampler for her Patreon. So I've added, but it would seem not finished with, the face. And in that cartouche under the tree there is a date. Now she's put it for this year's date. I think I might put it as 2012, because my partner and I have been together 10 years this year, so I think I might do this as like a kind of a 10-year I'm not fed up with you yet sampler. But I'm really enjoying stitching on this, really enjoying it. I've got quite a bit to catch up on. She's on to the last part. So the last part to be released is this bottom corner down here. So we've got all of the top row and then two if not three parts of the bottom row. So hopefully that will be finished before the end of the year. And then I had a new start because it is Black Sampler November. So I stitched on my own sampler that I'm releasing, but I also wanted to have my own black sampler to stitch. So this was the one that I chose, which is Helen Bell's Multiplication Table by Carriage House Samplings. Now this is one of several multiplication table charts that I've got, but this is the first one that I'm starting. It's actually charted, it's not actually black. It is Williamsburg blue, very dark, the needlepoint silk, but I'm stitching it in black. And I am stitching it on a piece of 36 count Picture This Plus Mellow. Now I'm not sure that it will stay this colour. I'm going to sew it, or stitch it, and then I may spray it, because it's just a bit too bright. But then sometimes I look at it and think it's okay, I quite like it, the contrast. And then other times I change my mind and think no, it needs to be a bit grungy. So I'm going to stitch it first. I'm stitching it with Sulky, and I'm pretty sure Sulky is colour fast, so I can spray it. And I probably want the reverse of the spray anyway, so that tends to be the side that I like. So I'd probably spray it from behind. So that is where I've got to. I was ironing it and there was this mark transferred from my ironing board. But thankfully, I would imagine once I frame it, that is going to be off of view. But it does mean that I need to buy a new ironing board cover, because we can't risk that happening again. So that is my Black Sampler November stitch. Okay, so I want to show you Mary Ann Kettle. Now I showed you Mary Ann Kettle last week with some post-it notes added, because I didn't want to show you the middle, her middle saying. So if you remember, the top saying said, "Remember thy Creator in thy youth," and the bottom said, "Strive to learn." Now I think Mary Ann Kettle was quite a strict girl. I don't think she suffered fools gladly. I think she was there to learn, and anything that distracted her from that, she was not interested. She was not interested. I can't find Mary Ann. There's a couple of girls who would fit the bill on Ancestry, judging by the date, but there's nothing more in this sampler really that tells me where it's from. So without further ado, and I had some lovely suggestions actually as to what the middle line was, and I do think that this sampler is prime for your own saying in the middle. I really don't think Mary Ann would object to having her middle sentence or one of the other sentences changed if you wanted to add a little more subversion, because there was lots of people who said, oh, I can think of something to put in the middle. So this is what Mary Ann said. There we go. "Remember thy Creator in thy youth, be not a dunce, and strive to learn," which I think is amazing. It definitely shows that she was not a girl to be messed with. So this is what my Mary Ann looks like. Again, stitched on 36 count with black sulky thread, and I stitched her on a kind of a greeny fabric that I showed you, because I liked the greeny, let me get it the right way up. I wanted to honour the greeny that she had stitched her original sampler in, but obviously the point of Black Sampler November is that it's a black sampler. So there she is. "Remember thy Creator in thy youth, be not a dunce, and strive to learn." And I framed it in this beautiful black bamboo, which I thought was quite high Victorian. Although she was just at the start of the Victorian era, she wasn't high Victorian, but I did like it. So as I said, I really do think Mary wouldn't object to you putting whatever you want there if you've got a little phrase that you would like to include. Now, I did make a couple of changes to the original pattern. The first thing I did was I took off a couple of extra borders. I just thought it looked better without. Sorry, Mary. And then on this side here, now this is sampler juggling. Let's just put that there. There is the little dog and then the tree. And then there's something here. I could not for the life of me work out what that something was. So I left it out. Sorry, Mary, I've no idea what that was. Potentially it could have been another dog, but it wasn't clear enough. So I thought she was fine with just one dog. But if you've got 2 dogs at home, feel free to add another one back on. So that's Mary. And just as I was passing, I also took my previous black sampler down from last year, which is Nessie Mitchell. And she's on my website, I'm not that posh, my Etsy site. If you would like to download her, and there's quite a few people stitching her this year that I've seen. So again, she was stitched in sulky, apart from the eyelet stitches, which I used DMC, because you need a slightly thinner thread for that, and the over one. There's a little tiny bit of over one, but not much. So there we go, there's my 2 black samplers. I just love Mary's spirit, I really do. I did look up the origin of the word dunce, and I'm going to have to get it right. It comes from a 13th century Scottish philosopher called John Duns Scotus, and he resisted new ideas. So by the 1530s, his name, John Duns, became dunce, and it basically became an enemy of learning. So anyone who was a little bit daft, who didn't want to learn, who resisted school, who resisted doing what it was they needed to do, that phrase was used. So there we go. And again, we have fluff. There we go. So that's my stitching and my release, which was part of my stitching anyway. I'm going to show you my new sampler now, because she's a bit of a stunner. And she's in a really heavy frame, really heavy frame. So this is Ann Arkles, A-R-K-L-E-S. Now I would say Arkles. Whether other people say Arkles, I don't know. And she's from Stamfordham, and this is stitched in 1812. And Stamfordham is up in the northeast, so it's actually not that far away from where Chris is in oh, I've forgotten the name of the place that it was close to. Pontyland, which I think is how you say that as well. So here she is. Now we're probably going to get some really bad glare on her, but she's got all of that red and green, all of those different motifs, and that centre motif is amazing. That would make a brilliant pillow in its own right. And then down to the bottom we've got Adam and Eve and those amazing motifs there as well. So let's try and just bend it a little bit. You can probably see the chaos that is the room. But I absolutely loved her. Absolutely loved her. I haven't seen what she's stitched on yet. I would guess it's probably 40 count or maybe 46 count, something along there. I don't think she's any smaller than that. But I cannot wait to reproduce her. All of those reds, let's bring her right back here. All of those reds are just outstanding. Absolutely love her. Absolutely love her. So if you were keen to see more of her, there she is. There we go. Right, I'm going to do freebies and then a couple of giveaways as well. So the freebie is somewhere interesting. There it is. There it is. So this is the freebie. And a lovely lady, and I forgot to check the name, sent me this earlier, and I'll put your name across the bottom. And it is from Soda Stitches. Or is it? Actually, it just says Soda Cross Stitch Design, so I'm not... Oh, it is Soda Stitch. There we go. And it's this lovely little gnome in... That's definitely a hot chocolate cup, isn't it? Definitely a hot chocolate cup. So I will put the download for this. Now, the proper PDF download is on their Facebook group, but you can also see the pattern on their Instagram as well. But if you want to download the proper PDF, then you'll need to go to their Facebook group. But I'll put all the information down below. And then I wanted to share with you some amazing stitchy kindness, really amazing stitchy kindness. So I showed you last week that I'd bought this chart from a lady on a D-stash. Let's get it up the right way. So it's called O Tannenbaum by Brenda Gervais. And I said last week, I said I loved all the pillows, I said, but I'm pretty sure not going to stand any chance of getting the box. Well, the same lady, absolutely blown away, the same lady sent me a package, and she sent me a lovely card, which is by Hands Across the Sea Samplers, which is Isabella Uffendell on the front. And it's, as always, it's got a little chart on the back. And she said that when she had the O Tannenbaum pattern, she had no chance of getting the box either. She tried to get it from the States, tried to find it in the UK, and then her husband came to her rescue, Trevor his name is, and he made her a box. And she said, so I got him to make you one as well. So I've got a box for this now, and now this is literally shot straight to the top of my must stitch. So I was rifling through my fabric last night, trying to see if I had a piece of 36 count, because that's what it's called for. So I'm guessing the box is the same size. And so, but I haven't quite got a piece of 36 count that's the right colour, so I'll just have to dye a piece, which is, you know me, I do like getting the dye out. And we're having a new kitchen soon, so I better get some dyeing done before then, because I think if I am seen heading to the new kitchen with dye pot in hand, I think I will be sent sharply packing. So isn't that amazing? Isn't that absolutely amazing? Now Trevor, there's definitely a market for this sort of thing. Any of these boxes that come out, these sort of charts, we can never get in the UK. So there's definitely a market, that's all I'm saying. Right, what have I got left to show you? I've got some giveaways to do. So, Ruthie from Crowsfeet Stitching has released some other charts. Now, I'm just saying some other charts because I realise one of them's missing. There's 3. Well, there's 2, and the third one goes with it. There it is. Has released some more charts. So the first one that she's released is this one, which is her own original design, which is amazing. And you get a really, really clear chart. I've only printed out the colour version, but I think I'm right in saying that there is a black and white version as well. You get a lovely colour chart. So if you would like a copy of this one, then all you need to do is to include the word Merry, let's go for Merry, in a comment down below, and then I will get your name and put it into a big hat, otherwise known as YouTube comment picker, and I will pick out someone's name for this in 2 weeks' time. I tend to leave it 2 weeks just in case people aren't quite up to date with their FlossTube watching. And then the second one that she has released is Elizabeth Clipperton. So this is the sampler of Elizabeth Clipperton, and then what she's done is taken the bottom section and just brightened it up a little bit and made it into a lovely pillow, which I definitely think has got Christmas looks to it because it's got the reindeer on it and the trees, but I also think you could leave that out. You could leave that out. So, as always with Ruthie's charts, you get so much information. And, sorry, just confused myself there. And the same with this one. So these two go together. So this is one giveaway, the sampler and the cushion from it. So if you would like to win this one, if you can go for Elizabeth. So we've got Elizabeth for this one and Mary for this one. And the other giveaway that I've got is an actual pack. Now you might remember me telling you, or a good few weeks ago now, that a lovely lady called Julie contacted me and said that she wasn't in love with stitching anymore and could she send me a box basically of her stash. And this amazing box arrived, absolutely amazing box, with bits and bobs in it and fabric and thread and lots of things like this, which is the chart pack with the thread. Now I took a few things with me to Stitch in London, the giveaway table there, and then I am going to be giving away some of them on here as well. There's a few things I want to stitch first, but a lot of it I will be giving away in the coming weeks. So this is the Fat Quarter Shop DMC thread pack for the Glitter House Village. So you'll get that, and then these are the charts. So Glitter House 1, let's see if I can put these in the right order. Glitter House 2, Glitter House 3, Glitter House 4, Glitter House 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So you get the thread, you get the 9 charts, which can be done individually, but usually with Country Cottage Needleworks there's a frame that you can get as well if you want to do them all in one. Now do these have any buttons with them? Nope. Nope, so there's no buttons needed on those. So you get all 9 charts and the threads. So if you want to be entered for that one, you can put the word glitter down. It should be all sparkling. And then, oops, get them all in without knocking them over. I will pick a winner for that one as well. So glitter, I'm only saying this to remind myself, glitter, Elizabeth and Mary. Glitter, Elizabeth and Mary. So good luck for those. I will draw the winner for those in 2 weeks, as I said. Now, I've got a little bit of haul, which doesn't include things like teacups. I've got a few charts. I've printed out some of the Teresa Kogut's actually. As you know, I'm a member of the Teresa Kogut, I nearly said fan club then, but I'm obviously a member of the Teresa Kogut fan club, but I'm also a member of her Patreon. So let's have a look and see what I've got. I'll show you those in a minute. I got my Patchwork Rabbit 2023 Book of Days. So this came from the Patchwork Rabbit as my dealer of choice. Now, somebody had asked me on Instagram, I think, whether there was room for notes and things like that. So I'm just going to show you exactly what actually is in here. Now, I'm sure you're familiar with the 2023, that's not what I mean, with the monthly spreads, okay? So down the side, you've got a column there which is called Notes and Musings, and then you've just got a space for each day for you to write what you started, what you've stitched on, all those sorts of things. And then that is pretty much all there is until you get right to the back. Then there's a page for advanced planning. There is a page, just put that back down again, with some little vintage charts, it's called. So it says the vintage images on this page are enlarged from a 19th century pattern book. So from their own collection. So there's a few little things there that you can stitch if you want to. But the alphabet's quite nice, so that could come in handy. There is some grid paper there, and then there is a page for the contacts. So if you're looking for a notebook with lots and lots of space to write notes and things like that, there's not loads of notes and space in this one, but it is mostly the double page spreads. So I'm going to try that this year, because I was using an Excel spreadsheet, which I really like doing, and then just when things got really busy in sort of May, June time, it just kind of fell apart and I haven't really got back to it yet. So I'm going to try that. I picked up from eBay this one, the Prairie Schooler Stockings and More, which is cool. I like that one. So you've got, there's 4 stockings, then you've got basically the main bits from each of the 4 stockings, and then there's 4 smalls on the back. Looking forward to doing those. And then I'm going to leave the Teresa Kogut's right to the end. I'm sure I've said I'm going to do the Teresa Kogut's next about 10 times. I'll get there. I just thought this was really funny. I just called to say I love you. Now this is by Scrooshy Stitch Bits on Etsy. And I just thought that was really funny. I liked that. And then this one, this is from Carol X Stitch on Instagram, who is Samplers and Stitches. Now you might be familiar with that sort of layout. She's done one for spring, summer, autumn, winter, and now she's done a Christmas one. Now this is on sale, half price for the next week. So if you're quick and get yourself organised this week, then you can get this one for half price. And do have a look at what else she's got while you're there. She's got some lovely stitches. Lovely, lovely. Right, Teresa Kogut. I am getting around to my Teresa Koguts. Right, let me show you what the Patreon for November was. And then I'll show you the other little bits. So, I mean, wow. Wow, wow, wow. I would have started this already if I could have found the right fabric that I wanted for it. So, again, I think I might need to dye some. Then that one. And then this one. The Christmas kitty. I love that. They're not huge. 101 by 103, 109 by 120, 120 by 120. So they're not huge, but they are just fabulous. Fabulous designs. And then she always does an ornament. Well, I say always. This last year, she started offering an ornament. It's not part of the Patreon. If you want it, it's £5 extra, $5 extra, I think it is. So I hadn't got the September one, so I got that one. I hadn't got the October one, so I got that one. And I hadn't got the November one, so I got that one. And I was reading the Patreon actually, and Teresa said, so if you've kept up with your ornament stitching, you should now have this number of beautiful ornaments. And I was like, yes, thank you, Teresa. Thank you for that. I have not kept up with that. Like one of the other things I haven't kept up with, I was going to do an ornament a month. I had that 12 days of Christmas stitch that I need to dig out that I started from the Vivsters. That was going to be done. I was going to have done the Year in the Woods. What else was I? Do you know what? I think there's more things this year that I was going to have done than I've probably actually done. And that's why my spreadsheet kind of fell apart, because normally I use my spreadsheet to help me remember what I've actually done. So this time I'm going to have to look back through Instagram and my show notes and things like that and find out what it is that I've actually done this year, because I'm starting to prepare for Flossmas. And if you remember last year, I had the Patchwork Rabbit Advent Calendar, which I shall be having again this year, and I had the Marks and Spencer's Beauty Advent Calendar. So this I picked up from Marks and Spencer's at the weekend when I was in Cheltenham, and it is, I'm not going to open it, but it is a little box lid there and a little drawer there, which could really be very good for holding some stitchy things when it's empty, because I actually use my previous one, my tin, as a tin of stitched things that need finishing, that I need to do something with. It's getting quite full now. The other thing I was going to show you is just my little bit of haul from the Natural History Museum. And for those of you that don't know, the Natural History Museum and the V&A are right next to each other. So I did nip into the V&A as well, just to go into the shop, because I love the V&A shop. But from the Natural History Museum, I got this bag, which is going to be a great stitchy bag. I really want to stitch the two charts from Hannah Stitching, the Darwin one and the Beetle one, and so I'm thinking this is going to be my project bag for that. And then what did I buy? Now, I bought a couple of Christmas decorations. Had to get Mr. Darwin. There we go. Now, being Welsh, well, I'm not Welsh, but living in Wales, I really ought to find Alfred Russel Wallace as well. But he probably is not so easy to find. So there is Mr. Darwin. And then this lady is Mary Anning, her of She Sells Seashells on the Seashore. She was one of the first female paleontologists, although I don't think they were necessarily called that back in the day. And Ness is absolutely obsessed with Mary Anning. There we go. So then I've got those for my my tree. Not normally into key rings, but I do have the biggest bunch of keys that need sorting out. So Mr. Darwin and the chimpanzee, or the ape. There we go. Got those two. And then I went into the V&A because my mum had asked for a bauble for Christmas. Well, no, she'd asked me to bring her back a bauble. Not to keep for Christmas, but she'd asked me to bring her back a bauble. I've shown you that, I don't show that. And so I had a look at the V&A, and they've got a few cross-stitch kits and a few like wool stitch kits. They've got some Sajou bits and bobs, and then they had some nice scissors. So I picked up a little pair of very nice scissors, and I can attest that these are good frogging scissors. You don't think that border on my multiplication table came about all by itself first time, do you? No, it did not. So a certain amount of frogging was done with those scissors. Right, let me just check. Let me insult the notes. I think that is everything. So, plans for next week. I'm going to carry on with my Black Sampler November. I am going to find myself some O Tannenbaum fabric, and I am going to start O Tannenbaum. And that's about it. That's about it. I hope you have a really nice stitchy week, and I will see you next week. Stay classy, stitchers.